Hey everybody, welcome to the Spark. Hope you've all had a lovely weekend so far, not over yet. So sorry for the radio silence the last few days, but it'll all be apparent as we chat through today's Spark. Okay, so let's get stuck straight into it. Welcome to the Daily Spark. Or it's not the Daily Spark, I'm just calling it the Spark now. Hi Meg, thank you for joining. All right, so I want to start by recapping the week that was. So we had, actually no, I'm going to recalibrate. Just give me a second. I want to have this set up properly, and my laptop is doing silly things. It doesn't feel comfortable the way I've got this set up. Bear with me a second. Let's see if that's going to work. What is it doing? Alright, let's just, no, that's not going to work. That's okay. We're going to make do with the technology as it is and just get on with it. So, today, let's start with a recap of the week that was. So, gate 61 and 62 last week. And this could have been quite a mental time for many people. A lot of thinking, a lot of analysing, a lot of trying to figure things out. And this energy can pull us right into the mind and out of the body, searching for certainty, answers, proof and logic. And when we're not careful, we end up overthinking instead of trusting what was already known deep down in our own self, in our bodies. So some of you may have been feeling that heaviness, that heavy energy, but insight was available last week. So if you were lucky enough to be open to that insight, you had to be willing to slow down enough to let clarity arrive organically rather than forcing it. So it isn't clarity you chase, it's clarity that lands when the nervous system settles. So I'm still not happy with this setup, so you're going to have to bear with me a second, people, because there's something weird going on and it's not flowing for me. Let's see. Yes, that's better. All right. Then I get to kind of shimmy a little bit. Thank you for your patience, Meg, and anyone else who's jumped on or watching in the replay. I love replays. I often do replays myself rather than watch live. So I know a lot of you do that. And particularly for me, I do a lot of, I listen into a lot of international stuff, so it's always in the middle of the night for me. We're 12 hours behind the US here in Perth, so often it's it's very hard to dial in the middle of the night because I'm sleeping. Okay, so I want to share with you my week last week. So it became quite potent for me, this 61 62 energy of being in the head and having to figure things out. And from Thursday, you see, I've been trying to do this broadcast for you guys since Thursday because I knew the energy was shifting on Saturday and I wanted to give you plenty of time and work through or prepare for the energy for this week. But it just wasn't coming together. It really was feeling quite heavy for me and it wasn't flowing. I was kind of able to write some stuff, but I thought, God, I wouldn't want to listen to that. So why am I going to try and record that? So no ideas were flowing. Like my creativity felt barren. So instead of pushing through or trying to be productive, which is probably my normal pattern, and it certainly would be in a, I guess, a corporate world where you kind of have to just keep going. Oops. You kind of have to just keep going and just do it, whether the creative juices are flowing or not. So I decided to just take a break. So I took myself off to the beach with the husband and the doggos, and all four of us swam in the beautiful Indian Ocean. It was a beautiful day on Thursday, crystal clear waters. I won't mention that a couple of weeks earlier I'd seen our little friendly Trevor the tiger shark in the water where I was swimming on Thursday. But anyway, I don't think he was there when we went in on Thursday. So we cooled down, we slowed down, and everything sort of softened for me, and my system reset. But I still couldn't get clarity on what I wanted to talk about with you all until this morning. So the creative flow was just not accessible for me in those few days that I really wanted. I tried every day to try and get something down on what I wanted to talk to you guys about. But until this morning, it didn't flow, and it literally just spilled out in a few minutes this morning. So I think, it felt easy, it felt authentic. And that's to be honest, and some of you, if you're new to this broadcast, might not have heard me say up front, but that's why you don't get me setting times and sticking to them in here. It just is not going to happen. That's when I will get burnout, and that's when I will be delivering you stuff that really not even I want to listen to. So in here, I honour my manifestor energy and I stay true to my creative flow. And so this week I listened to my energy and also the background frequencies, and I slowed down so I could wait for that time where creativity sparked again. So, just true authenticity and transparency for you all. That's how this space runs. So it's an important lesson, I think, not just for me, from this pairing last week of the 61 and the 62, that clarity doesn't come just from effort. It actually comes from listening to yourself and trusting yourself. So hopefully many of you managed to feel that last week and were able to stop and recalibrate and slow down a little bit. That's what I wish for you all to have had that space last week. And yesterday, we officially shifted into the energy of the gate 60 and the gate 56. And this energy carries us through until Thursday this week. So let's start with the gate 60. So gate 60 lives in the root center. So this means it has a lot to do with pressure. So you'll feel it as pressure to change, pressure to evolve, and pressure to move forward. So when this gate is unaligned within us, that pressure turns into resistance. So we start to push against reality, we argue with what is, and we feel frustrated, trapped, restless, and limited. So the shadow of this gate is conflict with limitation. So we're feeling limited and we're conflicted with that limitation. We feel confined, we feel stuck, or we feel blocked by our circumstances. Now, this can sometimes sort of fall into the poor me kind of thinking or comparing yourself to others. But the true gift of this gate 60 is surrender. And I want to be really clear here. Surrender is not resignation. It's not giving up and it's not settling. Surrender is the moment you stop wasting your energy, fighting reality and start working with it. So when you accept the true parameters of your life, your time, your energy, your current resources, your emotional capacity, something fascinating happens. Your attention moves away from what you don't have and towards what is available. And that's where the magic enters the picture. So if we fixate on what's outside our control, we block possibility. And if we surrender to what's realistic, we allow creativity to help us unlock intelligent change. So with this gate 60, it teaches us that constraint is not an enemy of creativity. It's the exact right container for it. When you stop pushing against the walls, you can finally design within them. And that's when new ideas, new solutions, and new momentum start to emerge. Not from force, but from alignment. So, pretty powerful. And now let's get into gate 56. And this is the gate of stimulation. And it sits in the throat center. So this means it's deeply connected to communication, self-expression, and manifestation. This is the storyteller, the meaning maker, the one who takes experience and turns it into narrative. So when this gate is unconscious, it can scatter your energy. So too many ideas are coming at once, you've got too much stimulation. And this is often distraction disguised as inspiration. So it's a desire for novelty that pulls you away from what actually matters. So just check that you're not getting distracted this week with stuff that is not moving you towards your purpose or towards your goals. And it's just noise in the background. So when gate 56 is used well, it becomes a powerful tool for integration. So this gate helps us extract wisdom from lived experience, and that's our own experience and others' experience. And it allows us to tell stories that don't just entertain, but help to orient. So stories that bring perspective, stories that give meaning to what's already happened. And with so many people still transitioning back into work, so most of you know that I'm working in a school this year, doing their marketing and communications. And with schools, the kids won't be back until Feb, but the teachers are sort of starting to dribble back in now. So there'll be a lot of people rocking up to work tomorrow, wanting to tell their stories of what's what they got up to in their holidays and that sort of thing. So it's a really potent week to use storytelling consciously. So share your experiences. Share what the last year has taught you. Share what didn't work for you and share what changed for you. So it's not about performance, but adding depth. And it's not about impressing, but to connect. So really think mindfully about the stories you're sharing and how you're sharing them and how you're interacting with other people sharing their stories. Because when done with intention, storytelling has the power to stimulate thought, open conversation, and to elevate the collective mood. It reminds people they're not alone in what they've lived through, and it creates meaning where they may have only had confusion before. So let's have some mindful conversations this week. And you can be part of that collective spirit simply by being willing to name what you've learned and what you're learning from other people as they share their stories. Now, I want to layer in an important reminder. We talked about this channel earlier this year, and it's still around. So I just want to remind people of this energy that's in the background that could still be activating us. And so the notes are still in the channel of the 3740. And this energy stays with us right until May, middle of May. And this is a long-term backdrop, not a passing influence. So really, as I say these words, think about the actions you can take and the goals that you can set and the changes you can make this year to really set you up for a great 2026. So it's all about, this channel's all about community, reciprocity and fair exchange. So you've heard me talk about this before, but let's just talk about it again so you remember that it's still going to be around for another few months. And so this channel, what it often brings to surface are questions like, am I being valued here? Is this relationship balanced? And it's not just an intimate relationship, it could be family, it could be work, it could be friendships. So am I being valued in this relationship? Is this relationship balanced? Am I giving more than I'm receiving? And is this work I'm doing aligned with my life's purpose, or is it just keeping me busy? Now, you may notice inequalities in relationships, your own or others. You may feel a stronger desire for mutual respect, appreciation, and emotional honesty. And this can show up, like I said, in families, partnerships, friendships, and very strongly in work. Now, you might not look at your job or business, you might look at your job or business and ask, am I utilised properly? Am I recognised for my contribution? Sorry if you can hear the family in the background. It's a Sunday, everyone's around. Okay, let's start that bit again. You might look at your job or business and ask yourself, and some of you may have the job of being at home with family, and that's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job. So this could bring up some stuff for those stay-at-home parents who are carrying that load for the whole family. So am I being utilised properly? Am I recognised for my contribution? Is this arrangement sustainable energetically and emotionally? And these are not questions to rush through. This channel invites us to renegotiate, not from resentment, but from self-respect. I've just been called to share a little story. It just jumped into my head then as I was talking about that. Someone that I'm in another, group with, I don't know her personally, but she shared with us in that group that I think she might have 3 or 4 kids, but she's made an arrangement with her husband where she actually gets paid for all the jobs that she does in the household, because it's about being respected and honoured for the work that involves. So I thought that was a very a great way to, ensure that you are starting to feel, or that you are feeling valued for that work that you do in the home. And I thought I'd share that here because that might trigger something for someone else in this group watching this video. Because I thought it was a very good way of ensuring that there was that equal respect in the relationship, and that the stay-at-home parent was feeling valued. So this channel invites us to renegotiate, not from resentment, but from self-respect. So if you want to work with this frequency consciously between now and May, it's an excellent time to create or revisit reciprocal arrangements, strengthen your network intentionally, and build connections that are mutually beneficial rather than one-sided. So it's all about, it's a very tribal, and I've explained this before, but this channel is it's almost 70% of my design. It really is a big part of me. But it really is, if you think about it from a tribal sense, it's about, well, what have you got to give me, and what have I got to give you, and how do we make that an equal bargain? And, you know, and not shy away from those negotiations and connections. And they could be financial, but they could also be emotional. So you don't always doesn't always have to be money for product or money for service. You know, even in a family, what we bring in emotional support and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really looking at all of that and making sure it's balanced. And if it's not, recalibrate it. So it's not about burning bridges, it's not about getting angry or, you know, really be considered in those conversations around it being a reciprocal relationship. You know, do it in a time where you're feeling neutral, especially if you've got an emotional authority, as I do. Talking about these things when you're in a high or a low period or wave in that authority is not always a good time. So make sure you're feeling quite neutral and have a very neutral, respectful discussion about reciprocity. Okay, so this brings me neatly to where I want to land or finish off today. I launched in this group yesterday and to my broader network my From Fear to Freedom masterclass. So for many of us, well, in actual fact, all of us, fear shapes our decisions, whether we want to admit it or not. It's often quiet and subtle, and it disguises itself as logic, responsibility, or being realistic. And this current energy will expose it, not to shame you, but to free you. So in this masterclass, it's not about hype or motivation. It's about understanding how fear operates in our system and learning how to move through it without force, burnout, or self-betrayal. And guess what? Our fears are all written in our human design body graph. It's all clearly laid out there. They're right there for us to see and acknowledge. And that's what we will be doing together in this masterclass. So it's not about mindset or positive thinking, because all that does is push your fears down further into the muck where all of our shadows live. And ignoring our fears does not make them go away, because our unconscious is still operating from the place of fear. And most of the time we don't even know it. So we justify it and rationalize it, and we keep pushing it down. But what it means is we're hesitating to meet our full potential because fear is still running the show. So I'm going to drop the link in the comments, or I've pinned the post, and I've also created an event, so I might share the event again on the page. If you want to join, or at least just click on the button and learn a little bit more about what it's about, you will get a full personalised report that highlights your fear activations in your human design. It will be especially for you based on your birth data. So it's not a one-size-fits-all masterclass. So you will have to interpret some of that stuff for yourself and understand how it affects the decisions that you're making in life. Because clarity is not going to come by pushing harder or pushing those fears down. So really you've got to acknowledge, you've got to tell yourself the truth and choose differently from there. So if you're unsure or you're hesitating, I'm happy to jump in the DMs, or I'm happy to even jump on a call and chat about it. There is a fee, $49 for the masterclass, and you do walk away with that report. So there is something tangible that you get for your money, as well as the 3 hours we spend together where you will be able to acknowledge those fears and move through them, integrate them, dissolve them within your body. And that allows you to choose differently. It allows you to focus on your goals and where you want to go. and give yourself the grace and the freedom to achieve those goals. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. I hope some of that resonated with you, and I hope that you, I hope I was able to light a spark in one way or other for you going forward in this week. Have a good one, and like I said, the energy, the sun and the earth will be in the 60 and the 56 until Thursday. So I will endeavour to get on a call midweek to give you an update on the energy following that. Chat soon. Thanks for listening, and see you soon.